look at it, because where it lost was not about anything else. It's about how do you do your strategy? How do you bring in a correct way of managing the whole teams? And that is the most difficult thing, I would tell you, my former president had, because why? He would wish to see things, yes, but there are so many teams that come up and they bring confusion. And all of them will say, I have been sent by the president, sent. That is where now an election goes to where you will not understand and you will lose that election. For me, the most important thing we should be saying here, and I appreciate that they met with the former deputy president. It is very important. But then, at the same time, I want to plead to my brother Fanyamambo, that in politics, I think one thing that BAMBA taught us, that there is no that enmity of such. It is interest. You never know tomorrow where your interest will be. So there's no need of, for now your interest says you don't need the president. That's okay. But always remember, even in where you're going to ask for the vote, people will tell you their interest. For now, they'll tell you we are here. But for the future, because one day you'll be a leader of Kenya, you have to look at all those interests. Nobody goes to anyone because they like them. No. We go for our interest. And if the interest of where we want to be as ODM will realign with this, definitely we will work with the person our interest goes with.
Okay.
And so you might feel it is wrong. In that region, it is not wrong. In Coast region, it is not wrong. In Western, it is not wrong. In Nyanza, it is not wrong. In Northeastern, it is not wrong. Always remember that they look at things, and that's why they stood with BAMBA. That's why when BAMBA said, this is the route. We might have our noise in Timoli, but one thing BAMBA taught us, have noise. When you finish your noise, come back and listen to what the structures are talking. That's one thing I appreciate about ODM, that regardless of everything you see, the moment you see the structure has realigned itself, you will move with the structures, whether you like those the things, but you have realigned.
Okay.
That is the only thing that will help that party.
Even as you respond to that, Fanyamambo, there's also the question of appointing Kalonzo Musyoka as a party leader of Azimio, and what he does to the united opposition, because many have talked about him being the most likely presidential candidate for that coalition. Now he's being appointed a leader of another party that has already failed from an election. And what does that, you talked about the prospects that Kalonzo do to you.
I'll start from where Honorable Beatrice Elachi left. And I'll start by saying this big word interest sometimes is the most abused word in this country. What interests do we have as people, as politicians, as Kenyans? We want roads for our people. We want hospitals, we want schools, we want all those things. But I've always said, a person who has not killed children can build hospitals. A person who has not killed Gen Zs can build roads. A person who has not committed the atrocious things that this administration has committed can do all those things. Why do we have to work with the wrong people always and insisting our interests are taken care of? I mean, we have so many Kenyans who do not have terrible human rights records, and we can work with them. So if it's about interest, our interest is roads. Our interest is not the president. If it's about interest, our interest is hospitals. If it's about interest, our interest is the good for our people. And the goods for our people can be achieved. I keep telling Kenyans, why do you still have to go back to the people? And I feel it's like Stockholm syndrome, that the people who have abducted you, done bad things to you, treated you terribly, you are attracted to them and you even protect them, speak well of them, and even campaign for them. We are sick as a nation, and we need to come out of this Stockholm syndrome and get ourselves out of this thing of thinking that even if this person killed my brother, he has my interest at heart, so I have to work with him. No, it is possible to have your interests taken care of by someone who has not done atrocious things to you. Now, coming to the question of Kalonzo Musyoka, I've always made it very clear that we in the united opposition have always had him as one of the leading, if not the leading, contenders for the position of presidency. Our good friend Uhuru Kenyatta, we hate to fight you. in fact, if there's someone who does not want to be at loggerheads with you, is ourselves. And I'll tell you why. Anytime we in DCP fight with Uhuru Kenyatta, we shall divide the mountain, and we want the mountain to be one solid block. So our plea to the former president is, please, before you pull your moves, can you listen to us? All we are asking for from him is that he comes and sits down with us before he does things like appointing Kalonzo to such a moribund outfit, because it's moribund, most of us have left it. And just come and listen to us and say, it doesn't hurt to consult, because we cannot move forward together unless we agree. Mm-hmm. So let it not be construed to appear like we are fighting Uhuru Kenyatta. No, we are not. We are just saying that his way of coming into this equation is a way that shows he has not consulted. Okay. Is a way that shows he has not listened to us. Is a way that shows that he's trying to bring his ideas onto us, which we are saying, wait a minute. Before you came, there is something we were doing. And now that you've come, you've created confusion in what we were doing. But we are still very open to a conversation. We are still very open to dialogue, and we still want to agree on a proper way forward. Otherwise, this thing is going to mess us up completely.
And now Uhuru Kenyatta, by doing this, he has two of the luminaries of the united opposition. Now he has Matiang'i, who belongs to his party Jubilee, and they did a restructuring of the leadership of that party. Now he has Kalonzo Musyoka as the party leader of Azimio. What does that do to the united opposition?
You know, it's actually throwing the entire, the entity, the composition into deeper mess. Because I'll tell you this, that is basically why I left Jubilee. You know, it's good to be honest. Because this confusion and entitlement by certain political figures that it is my way or the highway, you know, that people do the heavy lifting for you, and at some point you come and decide that you're going to throw everybody under the bus. That is where the problem is. Because even now, I can tell you for a fact, I have friends across the united opposition, in DCP, in Jubilee, in DAP, in all these political parties. There's discord, and that is a fact. Because, you know, the supporters of Fred Matiang'i now are asking themselves, we are like the de facto, as far as Uhuru Kenyatta is concerned, they are the de facto, they're supposed to be the de facto beneficiaries of anything Uhuru. Now here is Uhuru, who goes behind their back and decides to bring Kalonzo back. And here is Kalonzo, okay, just some time back, I think it's last year, he actually proclaimed that Azimio is dead. And now you're bringing him back and making, announcing that he's the chairman. For sure there was a meeting. Mm-hmm. Because I know the meeting happened.
They were in Nigeria together.
Yeah, but even after Nigeria, they did a meeting, not yesterday, but the other day, the day before yesterday. And all these changes are leading to something. I know, to me, I can actually predict the fears of His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. The people in DCP, and there are many, they have been telling us that their presidential candidate is Kalonzo Musyoka. For him, from the Jubilee Party and from where he sits, he feels that his presidential candidate is Fred Matiang'i. He's trying to bring these two together. Then they can negotiate and agree who becomes the president and who becomes the deputy. The question is, now that both of them seem to be relying so much on the Mount Kenya vote, what is it for the people of Mount Kenya? Right. And that question even Fanyamambo cannot answer. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of flip-flopping that we are also learning as the young and upcoming politicians from the legacy politicians. Because at times they gag you, at times they ensure that you cannot express yourself freely. And I feel, I know Fanyamambo very well. And he comes out very strongly when he's addressing issues. But what I see today, he's tiptoeing. And you know why he's tiptoeing? Because they don't want to annoy His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta. And it is going to cost them, by the way. Right. That is what happened to us in Azimio. I was one of the agents of BAMBA at Bomas. I and Beatrice Erachi here, Mheshimiwa, we were at Bomas, and we can tell you what happened there. We lost the election of the year 2022 out of pure mismanagement of election, from the secretariat to the agents and everything else that followed. Right. So what is this that Uhuru Kenyatta wants to do differently. Number two, from what I saw in the press release, it is very clear that he wants DCP and all these other parties to join Azimio. Will they agree to fold and join Azimio?
Yet there's that meeting that was on the headlines yesterday, Bwana Gakuya, that there were attempts to broker a peace deal or and his former friend, Rigathi Gachagua. Are you aware of such a meeting? Did it happen? Did it succeed? Because here you're speaking like this has also shocked you.
In fact, what I would say on the outset is that whether there will be a handshake between Uhuru and Gachagua will not change the position of Murima as of today. And let me tell you, a very simple arithmetic. We went to last election with Uhuru being the head of state, and we beat him 10-0 in Mount Kenya. So it's not today that we are going to seek his sympathy at all.
You don't even need a reconciliation between him and Gachagua.
Let me tell you, I stand here to speak my mind. Uhuru, we may need him because he has 13%. That 13% we may need to have a whole 100% in Murima. But let me tell you, in the new games that he's trying to play, we cannot buy those games. And politically, we are ahead of him. Yes, let me tell you, he is a retired officer. May he sit back and allow this team to move on with their own political arrangement. But if he thinks that he's the one to influence, we cannot buy that. And that's what I will tell you on the daylight. Even if Gachagua, he tried to tell her to take us that direction, he'll go alone.
Wow.
I can tell you.
This definitely plays into what is happening on the other side. Beatrice Elachi, your party is very deep into a coalition building momentum with UDA. It is part of the stories covered here at TV47, which has caused some jitters. But when it comes to coalition building, do you think that ODM is doing it right? We've seen the demands recently. The chairperson talking about nusu ng'ombe, not nusu mkate now. That hiyo ng'ombe ikatwe katikati, kila party leader saying that now they've changed tack, they're no longer going for the running mate position.
Yeah.
Even your party, appears a bit confused when it comes to negotiating for this coalition.
Well, you see, in a negotiation, you don't look at what we speak on those microphones, yeah? In a negotiation, you go into a room and the document that comes out is what tells you you have negotiated. So, but you see, these are optics. You bring in what you feel, for also people to feel, yes, as you go in, because there will be a win-win and a lose-lose. In the end, you have to win, give in for you to get to where you want to go. So for me, for now, whatever we say on our mics, it's for optics to make our people understand. Yes, we understand what we are going for. We understand we need this. But now when you get in, you look, when you look at ODM, and I said, and that is one thing, that the uniqueness that we never used to see until Baba has left, that even when you're saying you're negotiating, remember, you'll have regions that have been very strong in ODM. They will want to negotiate for themselves. Mm-hmm. They will want to feel they're on that table. So even if you say 50-50, how it comes out and you realize this region of ODM has benefited this and this is when you'll know you have a 50-50 or this and this. Because it will not be just a negotiation the way we are. Definitely. And you can hear how those regions are very strong, as they say. Mm-hmm. You know, when you hear cost, they tell you, we will be on that table. We will negotiate this. So
not necessarily under ODM.
No, as ODM. But what we need to now, first of all, as ODM agree, that let us hear what the regions are crying for. What is this that is making them feel they must be on the table? Can you carry their agenda? If we say it is the party leader that is going to negotiate, he will carry the agenda of cost, the agenda, and within his team, he will have someone from Coast, he will have someone from Northeastern, he will have someone from Western Province, from the Maa community, because all of them have been there. But as I said, and maybe I'll continue saying it, because you will find what a person from Maa community will want. is very different from what a Western person will be negotiating for. He will come in saying, I'm a minority. We've been minorities. We want this, this. Then they will change and say, sisi watu wa mifugo. You know, we have so many names. That's why I was telling Vayamamba, the interest you might think is road, but when they come in with their words, you look at them and you wonder, okay, na sisi watu wa hivi. So there are many different things. But then the other thing we need to ask ourselves, for me, we already have a document which 1 year is about to lapse within this March. So first of all, carry this agenda. We already have an agenda that Baba put his signature. We must look at that agenda first. This political agenda is how you work in a coalition post. But there's pre here, which was our 10-point agenda, which we must sit down and evaluate this agenda, ask ourselves, from the time Baba left to now, have we been able to achieve 3 or 4? What about the 6? What is happening? There are some that are continuous. There are some that are not. We had the NADCO report. Can we put it on the table? This NADCO, the chair was also, at that time it was Azimio, isn't it? Kalonzo was there. There are some things I believe he believed in. I don't know whether he has left it now. When you're talking about IEBC, you know, I asked myself, when I looked at the recommendation we gave as Azimio, it's a very tough recommendation in terms of that election. And we said, the results this time around, that small polling center that gives you 200, 100 marks is final.
All right.
That was our recommendation. I don't know whether we still believe in it. I don't know whether we were doing it because of emotions. Now we want. So there are many things we have already done and passed through.
Okay.
It is important for ODM to clean those. And then you come into your coalition of 50-50.
All right.
That would be my opinion, though.
And the question, of course, is whether or not those will be that will be the main agenda when it comes to negotiating for spaces in this coalition. And of course, we continue questioning the veracity of the kind of deals you have.
Let me tell you, you see, the way we are talking now is not the way after the elections of 2027 will be. We must prove. You see, I don't want to come and pretend that politics is number.
Okay.
And the numbers will prove. And you never know in ODM whether the Coast region will perform more better than us maybe in Western. And they'll say, we gave the numbers, we need this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of the feedback, especially on that discussion around Azimio, is Azimio a party or a coalition, now that it's speculated Musyoka is Azimio party leader, that is Sauti ya Rais Media. Someone else, Roger Sumbui, simply says Matiangi. I don't know what that means. Frederick Kavoy says, but I said Uhuru is on a mission from a certain quarter. Uhuru every time visits to State House speaks volumes. Let Kalonzo follow Uhuru at his own risk. Jackson Mudhuri says, Gakuya, please come slow. Mambo kuja pole pole. All right. Still on that Azimio angle, Jared Kenya says it won't bear fruits. Exercise in futility. This is just part of the conversation. Although now we are turning the conversation to the ODM UDA coalition, but let me just sample even more feedback here. It is just a divide and rule tactic that will bear no fruit. Maureen Joroge. So many people are not seeing that Azimio return becoming fruitful. That they were going for nothing less than the deputy or the running mate position come 2027. Now that conversation appears to be shifting. You believe that now, as far as ODM UDA coalition is concerned, that statement alone, that they are not going for the running mate position, could mean something different even for the united opposition?
For a long time, this government used to speak 3 languages. English, Kiswahili, and a third language called lies. Now, today, ODM is speaking English, Kiswahili, and very eloquently, they are also speaking the third language called lies. And they are telling us in their face, lies. They come and say that the 10-point agenda, one is inclusivity in all spheres of life. ODM wako hapa anambia, 10-point agenda, inclusivity in all spheres of life. Let us talk about parastatal appointments. Some parastatals have got boards that can fluently speak their mother tongue. Everybody in that parastatal. There is no inclusivity. It's not happening. We are not seeing a change. Na wanatudanganya looking at us in the face that we are implementing the 10-point agenda. Protecting and strengthening devolution. Kuna governor anajenga apartment hapa, Parklands. na hiyo apartment anajenga it's on a public land that has been a school, and everybody who was born and brought up in Parklands anaona yenyewe ilikuwa shule. This governor is dancing with the president all over the place. Nothing is happening. Is that how you protect devolution? Now, leadership and integrity. Where is leadership and integrity in this country? The other one they signed to, right to peaceful assembly. Tunapigwa tear gas kwa kanisa. On a Sunday, watoto wanapigwa na tear gas. A guy comes, he's shooting at windscreens, he's shooting at tires. We are told that we threw tear gas upon ourselves. Ile tear gas kwani Magunas wanauza tear gas? It's the only supermarket in Nyeri. Tulienda huko tukanunua tear gas. So these things they are telling us, look, national debt. This government is borrowing left, right and center. Juzi niliwaambiwa, we were given 30 billion by World Bank. It's on their official website. Go and look. To help us specifically in transitioning our children to grade 10. Ilikuwa ya uniform, ilikuwa ya vitabu, ilikuwa ya classroom expansion. It is on the World Bank website. Everybody, just Google. Even on Google, just say, Kenya given $180 million in December. In fact, World Bank is planning to give us another 38 billion to help us transition our children. And by the way, as we speak, our children are not going to school.
All right.
So this 10-point agenda is a lie. Now, fighting against corruption. The most corrupt leaders.
We'll come to continue with that because it's time for us to take a short break. Even as we consider now the UDA-ODM coalition, Fanyamambo says, he doesn't think the 10-point agenda is actually the real agenda. Probably the Ngombe Nusu is the real agenda. We'll continue this conversation after the break. You're watching Morning Cafe. We're going to do a behind-the-scenes one of these fine days to show you what exactly goes on. But now we're considering the ODM-UDA coalition. And remember, we're also asking you this question that we need your feedback on, and we'll be sampling that after we finish up with this UDA-ODM coalition discussion. It's about whether or not you're looking forward to re-electing your member of parliament come 2027 and why you think they deserve to be re-elected. Use social media pages, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. On X, it is TV47 Digital. Remember to use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. The question is, will you re-elect your area MP? Point out the specific areas where you feel he or she has delivered. We have two of them here. Projects, legislation, or representation that make him or her undeserving of another term, or deserving for that matter. Hashtag deserving as well.
Undeserving.
It's for them to give us the feedback. Hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. But now to set the stage on this ODM-UDA coalition discussion, part of the problem, the biggest jitters have been around the position of running mate. Bwana Kithure Kindiki, Professor Kithure Kindiki, the Deputy President, says he's quite safe. Let's watch this story.
A day after ODM party leader Uhuru Kenyatta said the party is not interested in the Deputy President's slot, the country's second-in-command, a confident Kithure Kindiki, allayed fears in his Meru support base that his position is under threat in the forthcoming pre-election coalition between UDA and ODM.
And I want to tell my brothers and sisters from home that I am in safe hands under the leadership of President William Ruto. He has made me feel appreciated.
The Meru delegation, led by Governor Isaac Mutuma, Senator Murungi Kathuri, and MPs, threw their weight behind Kindiki to help him retain his seat in the 2027 deal with ODM.
They should know one thing, ya kwamba tuko na rais na tuko na deputy president in the seat, and we are behind you, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, na sisi ODM ikinjipanga kuungana na wewe, sisi tukiwa community ya Meru, lazima tukushike mkono katika chama ya UDA.
Kindiki used the State House event to slam his critics, including his predecessor Rigathi Gachagua, who had called him a yes man.
I just want to encourage my brothers and sisters, don't be shaken by small criticisms. You know, you are not doing this, or you are yes people. That is normal.
President William Ruto consolidating his support ahead of next year's elections by meeting regional delegations. He is expected to meet more than 10,000 UDA aspirants at State House on Wednesday.
Because kuna watu wanasoma mambo kwa ground. na wanajua hii serikali inaenda kuundwa mahali pale. You know, it's only a few people who cannot see where the government is going to be formed.
Apul Kamau, TV47.
If it was indeed a non-issue, then no one would be talking about it endlessly.